Hi, Olo here. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. And remember I said I mentioned that I would like to read a shitty fanfic. Well, it's time. It's not gonna be the whole thing. It's gonna be the first few chapters, and then if I feel confident enough, I'll do the rest. I'm in my underwear, and I'm ready to read a fucking fanfic. Okay, so the fanfic choice I decided to read today is Sonic High School by Dark Doom Firemaster. And all I know is this was originally made by the guy Dark Doom Firemaster on fanfiction.net, but I don't think you can find it anymore, except for being archived on a Wattpad. So that's why I'm doing this. So let's check the parts. There are 25 chapters, and it's a fever dream. If I've ever heard of one. So let's start reading. What? Anyways, so that was my cat. Let's start reading. Chapter 1. Sonic's Journal. Sonic woke up and looked at the clock. 7 o'clock, it said, and Sonic screamed, "I am late for school! I have to get to school now!" said Sonic, jumping out of bed. The Sonic put his clothes on really fast and ran out of his room because he was fast. "No time for breakfast," said Sonic as he ran past Sonic's mom. "You will regret this," said Sonic's mom, leering at him from the kitchen stove, wearing aprons and oven mitts on her hands. Sonic did not care. He was late. Sonic ran outside and ran to the bus stop where people were getting on the bus. "Tails! Knuckles! Wait for me!" said Sonic as he ran towards the bus. "Hey, Knuckles! It's Sonic!" said Tails to Knuckles at the bus stop. "He is late," said Knuckles to Tails before getting on the bus. Sonic ran so fast to the bus that he got on the bus after Tails. "Just in time," said Sonic, huffing and puffing like he was doing the Cupid Shuffle for the first time. Sonic sat down next to Tails, and Knuckles sat behind him, taking up both seats. "I'm so bad," said Knuckles, laughing because he sat where two people could sit. Knuckles did this every day, no one bothered him, but they all knew it was against the rule of both man and God. The bus started and drove out to school and parked and they got out. "We're at school now," said Tails. "It's time to go to class." Sonic was also at school. So he went to his first class of the day, English class. Sonic did not like English class very much, but he did not like any class very much that was not about running and going fast, which is what Sonic does best. Sonic got to his class and sat down in the seat. "It's journal day," said Sonic's English teacher, Mrs. Lesson. Mrs. Lesson was tall and white and had gray hair, and she was not pretty. "Take out your reading journals and put them on the pile, and I will read one of your entries to class." Sonic took out his blue journal, ran to the front quickly, and put his journal on her desk, and ran back to his desk, all with his head down, and not talking or looking at anyone. Sonic was so fast that he did it first. Everyone else did it afterwards and slower. Mrs. Lesson grabbed a journal from the pile, and Sonic knew it was his because it looked like Sonic's journal, and Sonic knew because he had written it so many times and it was crazy. Mrs. Lesson opened it to a totally random page, and it was the worst page she could pick. She began to read. "Dear Journal, I had called the doctor today about a problem. I have a problem with my balls. They're itchy and it's so difficult to sit still with them because they're so itchy. I have to back up against stucco surfaces and rub up and down on them to relieve the itchiness. No creams have worked. Creams only make my balls sweat like the breath of a thoroughbred, and I think Amy, my girlfriend, noticed. I hope my doctor calls. Love, Sonic." "Oh no, stop reading," said Sonic, but he reacted too late because it was already read, all of it. Everyone in class laughed, and Sonic felt like an idiot asshole because now everyone knows all about his ball problems. Sonic felt his rage build up inside him like a pool of lava in a volcano. "Stop laughing at me! Don't tell anyone!" shouted Sonic, but everyone was laughing so loud that they did not hear him, and Sonic ran out. Was just so embarrassed and mad and sad, but more embarrassed, so he ran out of the class fast. Sonic ran to his locker and opened it and screamed into it. He screamed, and curse words too. "What is the problem?" said Tails. "Are you mad?" said Tails. "Why do that?" Sonic was mad, so he nodded. "You should tell everyone that it's okay to have problems with your balls, and that they probably have problems that they don't want everyone to know about. So stop laughing at me." Sonic thought Tails was right because Tails was smart. Knuckles was there too, so he said, "Sonic, what is this about her? What is this I heard about you're having problems with your penis and balls?" Sonic was so mad so he punched Knuckles and ran away quick. Where Sonic ran to next was his next class. It is now second period, which is so it was okay. In that class was history class. Sonic did not care for history class. "Hey Amy," said Sonic, "check me out," and Sonic did a dance. "Wow, that's cool. No, that's not gonna work. How should I do this? Take Amy's voice. "Wow, cool, let's kiss." That's Amy, and Sonic and Amy kissed right there in the class, and some of the other people in the class watched, but the teacher wasn't there yet, so they didn't get in trouble. Who was gonna tell Sonic can't kiss his girlfriend in class? Amy kissed Sonic so hard, thinking he was thinking, "Let's have sex," but he didn't. But he didn't say it because the teacher would show up by the time they started to have sex in history class. Sonic kissed back really hard, and it was sexy to everyone. Oh god. The teacher arrived in the class, and they did class, but Sonic just looked at Amy the whole time, who was sitting next to Rouge. Rouge and Amy talked, and they looked at Sonic sometimes and laughed and Sonic thought Amy was telling her how awesome Sonic kissed her, but it was not. Rouge was telling Amy about Sonic's gay ball problems. And Amy was Sonic's girlfriend, but she thought it was the funniest thing ever. Class ended, and Sonic went to play Amy quick and did not stop her on the way. Hey Amy, why do you go you're telling Rouge about how hard we kiss? Smiley face, said Sonic, with a smile on his face that meant that he did not care about that Amy did this and really wanted her to because it made him look cooler. Actually, Rouge was telling me about the problems with your balls and penis and butthole, and that everyone found out about in his English class. Wow, was Sonic surprised. He did not know what to say. End of chapter 1. Take a breather. Chapter 2, The Prom. The rest of the day for Sonic was awful. So bad that Sonic went home and went right to the bathroom and took a big poop. It was a mad poop, because it went out fast. It shoot out his butthole so fast that it was like a gun shooting. His poop stunk so much that the neighbors could smell it, and they had a meeting about night about what to do about it, and they decided they would just put fans on outside, and if it started to smell again, they would do something else. What the fuck? So Sonic pooped and went into his room and shouted into his pillow, everybody! Sonic shouted loud, and he heard a knock at his door. What is wrong, Sonic? Asked Sonic's mom. Nothing, said Sonic. Okay, just keep it down, because I'm trying to watch the T-V, said Sonic's mom to Sonic, and left without saying anything else. Sonic was in his room, still, so he looked out the window and saw Tails flying there with his flying tails. Sonic, are you okay? Asked Tails. I was worried about you, Sonic. Sonic was less mad because Tails was always nice and smart and didn't care that Sonic left his porns around his room so he could think about kissing and doing sex on Amy when he wasn't with Amy. Please be happy, said Tails. Are you there? Sonic went to the window and opened the window. Sonic grabbed Tails and put him on the bed because Sonic is strong too. This day was the worst, said Sonic. Everyone thinks I'm a gay loser all because I gave him them in my journal. Sonic cried a little, and Tails put his hand under his face to catch tears. Tears can stay in the carpet. So Tails hugged Sonic and said, I'm always here for you. The prom is tonight also. Wow, I forgot, said Sonic. Sonic ran to his closet fast and pulled out his prom uniform. It was a tuxedo, and put it on faster. Is our limo here yet, Tails? Said Sonic while looking at Tails. Yes, said Tails. Right back. Let's go. And Sonic went outside with Tails, who was also in prom clothing, and they went outside and got in the limo. The limo is broken, said the limo driver, who looked like a person but darker colored. Why can't you just say African American? Okay. That's the only way to put it. Sonic and Tails got out of the limo and asked the limo driver if they could fix it. Nope, it's broken internally, said the limo driver. So Sonic grabbed Tails' hand and said, let's go, and ran all the way to the prom, which was on an island called Ghost Island. This place is scary, said Tails. Ghost Island was very scary. It was shaped like a skull, and everything looked like it was dead. Sonic looked at Tails. Yeah, it is, said Sonic. Why would they put the prom on this island? Said Tails. I don't see anyone else from the school here. Tails and Sonic were both worried about it all. Sonic and Tails walked forward, and there was a haunted house. Sonic and Tails went into the haunted house, and it was spooky. Sonic saw a ghost, and Tails saw a mummy. There was a man laughing. Okay. Sonic and Tails, now you are both here and falling right into my trap, said the man laughing. The man looked like a fat, immature gay. It was Eggman. Eggman, why are you here? Asked Sonic and shouted at Eggman. Are you here for the Chaos Emeralds? Sonic shook his fist at Eggman and Tails ran at him. But what an idiot! Because a cage fell down on it from the top of the sky and trapped Tails. You are doomed now, said Eggman. Welcome to a graveyard of you. Sonic was shocked. He did not run forward because he did not want to get caught too. What if Eggman did not have another cage? Sonic did not know. So he went to the side into a different room. This room was smaller and had carpets and wallpaper. It was so scary though. Sonic said, I need to find a way out and to save Tails. He walked into the door, and there was on the next wall, next thing, said Sonic. When he came into the room, out of the room into the same room he was in. This is a haunted house, so you always come back to the same place, said Sonic, thinking of famous saying he saw on the wall of a Walgreens where it was written. Okay. So Eggman laughed and pointed at Sonic. I kissed Amy now, and you can never date her again, because I'm going to do sex to her tonight. No, this can't be real, said Sonic. Sonic knew that he had to do something, but what? End of chapter 2. Okay. I'm starting to not like this. This is kind of awkward. Chapter 3. The two most important people. Sonic ran the fastest to Eggman, Dr. Eggman, right through his traps, and jumped at the floating platform that Eggman was standing on. I'm coming for you, said Sonic, and he jumped up right to the platform and got so close but fell. It was just too high to reach even for Sonic. Sonic said, damn, and ran up the staircase that it was in the middle of the big room that were under Eggman. Sonic ran to the top, and at the top he jumped again from a higher spot, and this time he reached the platform because it was easier to get to it. Now you are mine, shouted Sonic right into Eggman in his ear. I'm not going to fall this easily, said Eggman, who then grabbed a crystal remote control out of his pocket and pressed a button on it that made a dome of lasers around Eggman. Get out of here, yelled Eggman. I am Eggman, and I will have my way with the treasures of this island, said Eggman. Eggman flew higher higher on his platform, and Sonic had already fell from the lasers that were on the floating platform, so Sonic didn't get to go to. Eggman disappeared into a purple and black portal at the top of the ceiling. Sealing. No, it's fucking idiot. Learn to spell. And Sonic was left at the bottom of the room, on the middle of the stairs. Amy has to be here somewhere, and I need to get Tails out of that locked cage, said Sonic, thinking about what he should do next. Sonic ran up to the stairs really fast and down the hallway. At the top of the stairs on the second floor, Sonic picked a door and ran into the door. The room Sonic ran into had a big picture of an old man on it, and he looked just as old that it was like seeing a skeleton right there. Sonic said, this man probably died ages ago, and those are his money from being in real estate to his sons who built this place. Sonic thought this was not the right room to be in, so he left it and went into the next room. This was the right room to be in. To be in, Sonic knew immediately. There was a big red bed, and Amy was tied with rope around her feet and hands, and there was another rope around her head with a lock in her mouth, so she couldn't open it or say anything at all. Sam, Sonic ran right into the bed, ran right to the bed without doing anything before doing that, and untied Amy with his Sonic speed. "I am so glad you are here," said Amy. "This prom is not turning out like I hoped it would. It would when I bought this dress." So Amy was wearing a pretty red dress that was like that was like what she normally wears, but longer, and there were two flowers on two flowers on the two shoulders. Amy's dress made her boobs look bigger, Sonic noticed. Sonic thought for just a moment this was the perfect moment to give her to give sex to him, but he did not do it because Tails still needed help. "Where's the key to open Tails' cage?" said Sonic to Amy. "We need to open Tails' cage. We can't get out of the cage. I saw Eggman putting a key in the safe behind the picture in the room you were just in," said Amy. "Let's go get it. Let's go get it." Amy and Sonic ran to the next room. Sonic got there first because he's the fast one in the relationship. Sonic punched the big strong hand. Sonic punched his big strong hand right through the painting like a bodybuilder and found the safe behind the painting. "The safe needs a password," said Sonic. "What could it be?" Sonic thought long and hard about everything he knew about Eggman. Sonic knew Eggman was a gay asshole who always ruined Sonic's plans to be the hero, and now he ruined Sonic's prom. Sonic tapped his brain, and he thought harder. "Maybe the password is his name," said Amy. It was not. It was not, and Sonic knew before Sonic put it into the safe lock. "I love her for her body," thought Sonic. Sonic thought harder, and he had an idea. "What if the password is, oh God, Search Salar de Ring?" What the fuck that is? Finally shouted Sonic shouted Sonic at Amy next to him. Amy, who was there, said, "What does that mean?" Amy, Sonic's girlfriend, was confused. It, oh God. "It is chaos symbols backwards. What he really wants, what messed up so we would not guess it," screamed Sonic, so happy. Sonic typed the password into the safe, and would you know it, it popped open. There was a big key, and Sonic took it. Sonic took it. Sonic ran down the stairs, and then Amy did. Since Sonic opened Tails' cage, and Tails got out. "I am so glad to be safe once again." "Thanks to you, Sonic. The day is saved." Tails was smiling bigger than a crocodile having a silly dream, but Sonic was not. "What is wrong, Sonic? Everything is right now," said Sonic. Said Sonic. Said Sonic. "No, I think you meant said Tails." "No, it isn't," said Sonic, so mad and sad. "Eggman got away without a real punishment for what he did." Sonic shook his face at the sky and thinking about how Eggman slipped away like a slippery balloon that Sonic let go of. "But we're all safe," Amy said. "That is what really matters." Sonic figured right then that Amy's superpower must be being nice because like he knew before, wasn't being smart, which Tails was best, and Sonic is also good at it too. Sonic did not even think about how his day at school was bad anymore because his balls did not even itch anymore. Sonic laughed, Tails laughed, Amy laughed, and they went home ready for the next day of school. Chapter 3. End of Chapter 3. Okay. Chapter 4, Getting a Date. Sonic did like in the first chapter and went to school again. Now, it's lunchtime. Sonic was in the lunchroom. Sonic was telling all of the people at this table were Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, SBO, and Charm and B about what did happen yesterday, but Tails already knew, so he was nodding his head like a good friend. You should have seen it, said Sonic. I was in the haunted house and I shot Eggman, but I let him get away before I could have killed him. Sonic laughed and Tails laughed at the same time. Knuckles said, you should stop going on these cool adventures because high school is more important, said Knuckles, and Sonic knew he was right because it's called Sonic High School and it should be more about the high school part. Fucking break the football, god damn it. Sorry about that. So Sonic asked him what they're up to. Well, I'm entering the science competition, said Tails. To win the science competition, I have to come up with the best invention, and my invention is this invisibility hat. It'll make you invisible, but I can't do it right now because I have to make sure it works perfect for the science competition. So Tails was so smart that Sonic knew he would win the science competition because Tails is like Einstein? Okay. Shot Knuckles and right into Tails' ear. What a bad guy. I am just hanging out and not going to class because I want to cause trouble, said Knuckles. Knuckles was so bad that he would cause trouble. Sonic thought Knuckles was a fuck. Shadow was next, and he was badder than Knuckles, but in a different way. I'm not gonna be around much longer, said Knuckles, and said Shadow. He always did at the end of. Yeah, it is Shadow. It's meant to be. He always did at the end of what he was saying because it was mysterious. Where are you going? Where are you going? Said Tails because he was curious. I'm going to kill my parents, said Shadow. See, this is how Shadow is worse than Knuckles because he did serious bad things. At least at the end of the day, Knuckles could sleep. Shadow was too dark for that. I'm going to try out for the football team, said SBO. SBO was athletic like Sonic, but not as fast because he had a horn on his nose, and that was good for attacking people in front of him. So Sonic thought he would be good at football. I'm going to try out for the play, said Charmy B. Charmy B was loud and singing always. And trigger warning, here it comes. You're an annoying fag, and you should do great, said Knuckles. Don't hurt my feelings. Do not hurt my feelings, said Charmy. Charmy was used to being hectored, so he was able to remove himself from his potent fury. Did you see Rouge just now? Said SBO. She's looking so hot in her tiny bra. SBO obviously wanted to kiss her deep. You should probably ask her out. But the problem was said Sonic. But the problem was yesterday, said SBO. Well, that is okay. You can date anytime, said Sonic. Oh, said SBO. Well, then I'm gonna kiss and sex her. Then I am gonna kiss and sex her tonight, SBO. It was like a little boy looking at his mom's boob for the first time. Sonic and Tails together were both looking at each other, and they wanted to help SBO. We're going to help you get a date, said SBO. Said Sonic and Tails at the same time simultaneously. And we're going to do it right now, said Sonic and Tails. Sonic and Tails got up and grabbed one of SBO's arms and dragged him across the room. Sonic did most of the dragging because he is stronger and put him right at Rouge. What is this? What is this all about? Said Rouge, with a questioning sound. She blinked her eyelids, looking quickly like a race car. What do you want? Why are you here? SBO looked right into her eyes with a passion like 100 barking dogs and said, Rouge, will you go out with me? Espio was sweating, and there were drops of sweat dropping of his hands in front of her. I don't know, said Rouge, and looked at Espio. Rouge gave him a sexy look that made Espio feel in love. Please do it, said Sonic and Tails together at the same time. Okay, we can go on a date tonight, said Rouge. Sonic, Tails, and Espio were stoked, and they high-fived right there. By the time this night ended, one of them would have done their first sex. Oh God. Now here's the hard part, said Espio. How do I put sex in her without getting in trouble? Sonic and Tails looked at each other and thought, uh-oh. And Espio walked out while holding Hunter Rouge's boobies, because they were now boyfriend and girlfriend, and is allowed to do that. Bitch, I don't know if that actually works at all. You can't just do that. Anyways, end of chapter 4. Okay. Chapter 5, Preparations. Hang on. Let me check my not calendar, but let me do calculations. Oh, okay, I can do this. Hang on. Okay. Anyways, I'm back. Chapter 5, Preparations. It was the end of the day at school, and it was time that Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles got back on the bus at the bus stop to board all the way from away home from school. We're on the bus now, said Tails. No more classes. Tails was happy but sad because he is smart. What a dork. Sonic and Tails sat down together, and Knuckles sat right in the middle of the aisle, which he usually did not do, but sometimes did when everyone was not on the bus. It looked like Espio and Rouge were not on the bus because they were too busy getting ready to go sex tonight. Now they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Knuckles laid across the aisle, even more stretched out than when he just sat across two seats because he's now the limits in the alpha. Now the limits were the alpha and the omega. How can we help Espio? Said Sonic to Tails. Tails responded, I don't know, and thought about it on the bus. The bus drove bumpy on the bumpy roads all the way home, and then they got out of the bus stop and that they normally got on in the bus, and at just like always, Sonic ran out of the bus stop, and then Tails, and then Knuckles in order. Time to go home, said Tails. We are almost there, and they walked the rest of the way home. When they got home, it was dinner time, and Sonic was at a different home than Tails and Knuckles because they all lived. They were all in different families and they did not live together. And Sonic's mom made a dinner. Sonic's mom made Chinese food. Bitch, how the fuck do you make Chinese food? Anyways, Sonic's mom made Chinese food, and Sonic ate it. And at the very end, there was a fortune cookie. How do you make fortune cookies? Homemade? I don't know. And Sonic broke it open, and ate the cookie part, and kept the paper that was inside that held the magic fortune on it. Sonic looked at the fortune and read it to himself inside of his head. Hang on. The path to glory begins at the base of your friend's penis, said Sonic inside of his head, reading the fortune cookie paper, and he knew it was a good sign for what was about to happen tonight when Espio and Rouge went to sex. Then the phone rang. Sonic ran to the phone and it picked up and said hello into it. It was Tails. I have an idea, said Tails on the phone to Sonic, who was listening but not speaking. I could give Espio my invisibility half that for the science competition, and he can use it to do sex with Rouge. Sonic smiled so wide that, like the king of fire, finding out he burnt down New York City with his fire powers. Sonic and Tails went to Espio's house later, which was not too easy to walk normally. to walk to normally for most people, but Sonic is super fast, so he ran there and helped Tails get there too. Seeing as Tails is not as fast as Sonic, they knocked on the door of the house, and Espio came out the door. Here's my invisibility hat that you can use with Rouge tonight to make it sex in. It makes it impossible to see and impossible to hear you when you're wearing the hat, or when someone who is wearing the hat wants you to be also be impossible to see and impossible to hear. Screamed Tails, whose voice was a little hoarse from ordering food with the lunch lady, whose hearing was lost in an earthquake in her childhood. Tails had to say the things he wanted so loud, and she would still say what? And Tails wondered why she even had ears if she wasn't going to use them. Sonic, Espio grabbed the invisible helmet from Tails' hands and said, "Cool, thanks," and kept going. So Sonic and Tails left and wished him luck far away from their own homes. Back at home, Sonic thought it would be good that Espio would get sex into Rouge, so he could explain to Sonic. Sonic would know how to find Amy's sex bots even better, because otherwise he would have to read about it online, because it was all he knew was about kissing, which it wasn't really sex, but it would probably become probably kind of the same thing, and Sonic would just read about it online before talking about it anyway, and he would know the right words for the things then. Sonic sat on his chair and was in front of his Sonic computer and opened up Sonic Instant Messenger, messaged Amy, who was doing the same thing but at her own home, and said, Hey Amy, want to finally become true boyfriend and girlfriend by reaching sex this weekend?" Sonic waited for a long time at the computer, and it seemed like Amy was not there, because she did not respond to anything. Sonic played games online and beat all the final bosses because he was like an alien sent to Earth to destroy records set by others. Then finally Amy responded. What Amy responded was, "No way!" Sonic was so shocked, his brain must have felt like a total idiot. End of chapter 5. Oh god. Sonic in chapter 6, Espio and Rouge. In parentheses, the best chapter out of this goddamn story. Espio walked to Rouge's house because it was time for their date together. All of Espio could think about was that they were about to make sex for the first time. Espio looked at the computer and read about what to do in the right words so he would know how it works and how to say it right, and so no one would make fun of him. It was Rouge's house he was at now, and it was in front of him. Espio knocked on Rouge's door. "I hope she is home," said Espio, and she was. She opened the door just then. "Hello, I'm home," said Rouge, looking always sexy in her tiny baby bra and her cool big boobs. Espio thought she looked like the hottest woman in the world that she could see from here. "Where are you taking me for a date?" whispered Rouge in a sex-filled voice. Espio thought that this won on the way over, so he could say it right for the first time and get her to do what he wanted. "That's sex." "Well," said Espio, let me put on the science hat and we'll begin sex." Rouge looked shocked, but she probably was excited too. Espio could tell they both had an erection. "What?" said Rouge in a shocked way. "Right here?" Espio said, "Yes, this hat was made by Tails specifically for our date. It makes it impossible to see and impossible to hear while I'm wearing it." Espio did a cool face at her. Being smart, it can be cool too, as long as you're not a nerd ass. Rouge said, "Okay, let's go on inside," and gently grabbed Espio's hand. but he pulled it back, and she fell, causing him to fell, and they both together fell on the grass, and where they rolled around in it until they were about in the middle of the Ridge's house's front lawn, so that there was plenty of room around there for activities. No, said SBO. I want to make sex in you right here. And SBO put on the invisibility hat, and so nobody could see or hear them. And a whole new world of possibilities were opened to them. So they could do sex in whatever they wanted, and it was time to start sex right now. SBO, oh god. So, Dad, I'm sorry. SBO revealed his penis to Rouge, who looked at it. Rouge said, oh, took out a vagina. SBO's penis was really big from looking at Rouge. Went like, oh my fucking god. Like when he's in church, and it's so boring, but you just get a boner anyway. Rouge's vagina looked like a surprise ghost. SBO's penis approached Rouge like a plane flying down at the airport. Instead of being full of businessmen, it was full of SBO's creamy Italian salad. Oh my, that's disgusting. Okay. Anyway, here it comes, cried SBO, ramming his Wallpaper adventure into Rouge's vagina spot. Rouge screamed sex noises, and SBO messed around with her boobs and face like she was an X-Men arcade game. SBO slapped his big awesome penis from side to side of her vagina like a hot dog windshield wiper, and Rouge was whipping grass on her lawn. Then SBO used his tail to flip her over, parentheses, and put his penis into her butt. He moved his penis in circles in her butthole like he was building a golf course and digging out the back nine. Rouge was flapping her bat wings like an idiot and not flying because SBO was holding onto her ass cheeks and pressing them in with his fingers and leaving marks that looked like it said "Wow" when combined with the spot where her butthole is. And that's where she felt, and that is what she felt because SBO seemed to be a sex professional. SBO used his tail again to flip her over and did all-star sex things like using a penis like a rolling pin on her face and plugging her penis into her belly button. To see how far it would go, making it a balls hurricane. And making a balls hurricane with swirling his balls and her balls. Finally, they both got just so sexy that penis, for fuck's sake. SBO penis ejaculated and steam came out of it and landed on Rouge, who was lying there on the lawn, but no one could see them, so it was okay. Out at the park, SBO screamed, "It's semen time!" And Rouge shouted, created generation in me. And SBO ejaculated semen into her vagina, and that was what happened. Now that they were done doing sex, they put the penis and vagina and balls away, and SBO took off the invisibility hat, and it was like nothing ever happened, but they both know it did, because they were there for it. Bye-bye, said SBO, and SBO walked off her property and away to his house. It did the rest of its things until school that happened the next day. And the chapter fucking 6. Oh my god. On? Okay. We'll do one more chapter for the night. Chapter 7. Teenage women. We had front sex, whispered whispered SBO at the people at his lunch table. SBO was at school in the lunchroom, and also was Tails, Knuckles, and Charmy and Vector too. I ejaculated from my penis into her body. I bet you wouldn't have done that. They have not done that. Wow, cool. You're the coolest head to Sonic, said Sonic, who was right there, so he didn't have to shout. It was not. It was good not to shout because this was supposed to be a secret. Tails did not hear the whole thing talk about Espio's penis and balls with, did not hear the whole school talking about Espio's penis and balls like with Sonic in Chapter One, but in a different way. Sex. Yeah. Speaking of Sonic, where is that gay bag? Said Vector, who was the captain of the school's football team. Vector was good at this, but because he was big and strong and had sharp teeth under his mouth. Just kidding, said Vectors. Sonic is cool. I don't know, said Tails to Vector. Where Sonic was somewhere else, trying to find Amy, who was not at lunch. Sonic was knocking on Amy's door at her house. Are you home? Said Sonic. Are you home? It was like Amy was not home because she was not opening the door. Sonic was worried about Amy because she was his only girlfriend, even if she denied his sex offer. So he ran into the door and barged down like it was made of nothing. Sonic was now in Amy's house. Amy's house was really pink because that was Amy's color. Sonic looked around Amy's house for Amy, but Sonic could not find anyone. Sonic finally went into Amy's bedroom and opened up the door. What Sonic saw was what he did not expect. Sonic was there tied up. Amy was there tied up on her bed with a thing in her mouth so she couldn't talk. Sonic did a scream and ran over to her, Amy, who was looking at his with tears in her eyes. She looked sad and starved like African kids. Sonic untied Amy, and she sat up and cried into Sonic's arms. It was awful, said Amy. She came into my room in the evening and tied me up on this bed and messed with things in my room. Amy was right. Her room looked messy. So get a fucking maid. No, so get a maid, said Sonic, always thinking about a solution to problems. Who tied you up? Who was it? Be calm, Amy. Calm down and talk to me. Sonic patted Amy on the back to help her. It was Shadow. I saw him outside his house next door with a machine gun and a sword going to his house to kill his mom. And he saw me. He knew I saw him. So he tied me up like a brigand. Amy saw all this, and Sonic was shocked that Amy said this to him. He remembered now in that other part when Shadow said he was going to kill his mom, but no one thought it would be more than once because Sonic was not Shadow. Shadow was always a bad guy. What they didn't realize was that Shadow was serious. Not Sonic, Shadow. Okay. Was it him who also said that you would not have sex with me on Sonic Messenger? Said Sonic to Amy. Yes, I did not talk to you then, spoke Amy back to Sonic. How do you feel like? How do you really feel about it? Asked Sonic, whose brain was now filling with sex ideas. Shit, I don't know, said Amy, who was still all worked up. Give me a day right now. Let's get things right. So Sonic and Amy went back to school where everyone else was besides them. Sonic and Amy saw Espio walking around between a lot of the other people. Hey, here you are, said Espio to Sonic and Amy. I had sex with Rouge last night. Do not tell everyone, said Espio. Oh, that's right, you did. I almost forgot, said Sonic. Hear that, Amy? And Amy was like, yep. You gotta tell me all about it later so I know what to do to Amy. And Amy said Sonic and Amy then turned around. Sonic heard a sound coming from down the hallway where someone was coming. It was a really fat guy, looking so huge to them. The fat guy got closer and closer until they could see who it was, and it was Rouge. Wow, you are so fat now, said Espiel. What's this all about? What's that about? Rouge got mad and surprised at Espresso. Well, he got me pregnant, said Rouge. Oh my god, thought Sonic to himself without saying it with a voice. She is pregnancy fat. This means she will have a baby. Amy was smiling for real for to Rouge. That's so nice. I hope you have a I hope you I hope you have a great baby, said Amy. Sonic tried to be a good boyfriend and said, "Hope your baby is cool," and smiled. Espio looked more worried than everybody else. "So I'm gonna be your baby's dad?" said Espio, worried and excited both. "Better believe it, fat boy," said a voice that sounded like just like Shadows. End of chapter 7. Oh god. I read the first 7 chapters of this damn fanfic, and I still have like 20. There's a total of 25 chapters, and I got some. That's enough for tonight. I don't know if I can handle that shit for tonight, more tonight. So, meet you back later tomorrow for my next vlog. See you then.